What do you think about the word honor? When you hear phrases like Hall of Fame, Book of Records, what comes to mind? Do you see the images? The pictures of people who made impacts on our societies, like presidents, authors, influencers, or maybe people who have directly made an impact on your life in different ways? May I ask why perhaps your image did not come to mind? Or you have never thought about having your name written or being in places like that? Or are you still wondering why it should be there? Today, I'll be talking about honoring our stories by telling them. So without further ado, let's get started. I am my story. You are your story. When we embrace our stories, we get a glimpse into the lives of others. We better understand ourselves and the world at large. Welcome to the Chronicler Pod, a curated podcast of extraordinary stories of remarkable people around the globe. From the world's famous to the most ordinary person, I believe there is no story too big or too small to be shared. Each episode is a story. I hope you find one that inspires, refreshes, entertains, educates, or encourages you in a beautiful way. I am Ayooluniyi, your host. Sit back, relax, and enjoy a world of extraordinary stories. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Chronicles Pod. This is Ayooluniyi, your host. This is episode 1 of the podcast, and I'm so glad you could join me. Thank you so much. Honor is a word I have been thinking about a lot lately. And not just the meanings, but how important it is and how related it is to stories. I think often about a physical Hall of Fame. I have never seen or been to any before, but whenever I think about it, I get a hint of how epic and glorious it could be. I also think about how honorable stories would be if they were printed on a wall. Like, yes, a wall. Something I could call a wall of honor. It's going to be magnificent, right? So, earlier this week, I asked some amazing people a question. I wanted to know the titles of the stories. I mean, what the titles of their stories would be if they were displayed on a wall of honor. And thankfully, they responded. They responded with some pretty great titles. Let's take a listen.
Small girl, big God. Yeah, I guess that's what my life will be about.
A drunk's delight.
Grace and love exhibit.
A colorful life in the background.
The girl who walked on water.
It will be titled Helped by God and Men.
A beautiful mending.
Thoughts on the extra mile.
The title of my story would be The Master's Work.
Welcome back. I don't know about you, but when I heard these titles, gosh, I could see what represents or how each person is represented in this world. And I think it's beautiful. It's breathtakingly beautiful. With these responses, I dare to say our lives are best represented on a wall of honor. I'm going to get to it in a bit. So, some words that are synonymous to honor are respect, commemorate, glorify, reverence. I have reverence for stories. Let me tell you what I mean. What that means is that I know that I am part of a bigger story, and I was created and put here for a reason. I personally believe in God. I acknowledge my identity as His creative creation. I believe that I have been given my life's journey as a gift, as a story to tell to the nations, including the good times, the bad times, the tragedies, the comedy that accompanied sometimes, the hopeful situations, success, failures. The people, especially the ones that are like lip pads for me, lip pads that carried me. I would include the difficulties I have faced in my life, the vulnerabilities, the traumas, and all the things we face as humans as we are trying to live a good life. All that to me is a story worth sharing. And when you take in that, when you acknowledge that your story, that your experiences are precious, they are a gift, the best thing you want to do is to share. So that's the way I think about it, that my life, your life, is a beautiful gift. But how do you share a gift if you don't know or if you don't think it's honorable? How do you share your story if you don't honor it, if you don't think it's something important, it's something special? And that's why I have decided to talk about this in this early episode of the podcast. I know we have all been in situations where we have felt like we did not have a voice or no one cared about what we had to say because what we had to say is not interesting enough or it's too boring to listen to. I remember being with a group of people and they had really incredible stories of how they grew up, of their families moving here and there, how they have visited one country or the other. Throughout that conversation, I just nodded and smiled. I had to hold my own story up because it felt humble, it felt insignificant and not as exciting. But here is the thing, every story, every experience has a place it shines. Everyone has a story. But I guess honoring those stories sometimes is the hardest part of living them. I know how hard it can be to honor some part of our stories, especially the not so great ugly ones. It's hard, I think, because nothing is guaranteed. Nothing. Love, acceptance, rejection, honor, nothing is guaranteed. But if you ask me what then could be done, I think and would say that we should tell our stories anyways. The starting point of honoring your story is to first believe that your story is worth sharing. Once you believe that, you can share your story like a gift. The way you can share your gift is in two ways. You either speak it or give it. You give it like a service to others, helping people around you, volunteering for causes that you're passionate about, building your community, changing the narrative one step at a time. That's you giving it. You can also speak it like tell it. Tell the story. When you decide to speak your story, I think you can start by journaling. I journal almost every day about almost everything. That's how I speak my story. I sit down and ask myself, Ayo, what are the things that happened today that you need to write down? Then I think about those things and script them. So you can start by journaling too. And I advise that you don't write down a list of things. Instead, you write scenes. You write out the scenes of the things you want to document. You visualize everything. For example, I want to document about things I'm thankful for. So I ponder on the things I'm thankful for. Let me pull out something in this moment. Okay, I'm thankful for the gift of education. What are the things or what makes me thankful for education? I sit down and I think about the moment, the things I can see in my memory about that. one thing that always tops whenever I think. I remember a part of my story, which is when I was 6, or I was a bit older than 6 years of age. I attempted suicide for the first time. I tried to kill myself because I could not go to school. My parents could not afford to pay my school fees. A lot of people do not know this about me, but that's my story. And every time I remember this, I get emotional because at that young age, I could already feel the weight of marginalization, and heavily so. But then people came to my rescue. And I'm grateful for having that gift, the gift of education. So I can write about that, I can talk to people about that. And one thing I discovered is that when I journal, the scenes are like stories. And stories are legacies. I mean, that's the human narrative. We carry each other's narrative. And the way we can honor our narrative is by telling them. So I guess I'm here to encourage you to beautify this world that we live in by telling your story, by honoring it. Tap into your story today, write about it, tell someone about it, just say it, just do it. That's how we learn about ourselves, such that when we look at each other's stories, which is something we could never see by just looking at physical appearances. Honoring my own journey is an unexplored territory for me, but it's one I feel invited to, and I hope you take this episode as an extension of that invite. Tell your story. Put your story on the wall of honor. Thank you for listening. Are you looking for ways to support this podcast? 1, you can share this episode with your friends and family. 2, follow the Chronicles Pod on Instagram at @thechroniclespod_ and drop your comments there. Also, for feedback or if you would like to be a guest on the show, please send an email to hello.chroniclespod@gmail.com. Thank you once again for listening. I'm still here. I need to make some notable mentions in no particular order. A big shout out to Nnamdi Anyim, Adebola Adeponle, Joe Ajibade, Favor Duro, Adeshewa Oweye, Olajide Ajibade, Kofoworola, Jokotolu Odufote, Michael Babatunde for their responses on the Vox Pop for this episode. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. Okay, I'm signing out now. See you on the next episode. Remember, no story, no show. So keep telling your story. I love you. Bye.